I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Day 2, Central Minix 2025 in beautiful Gander. Well, thanks to our good friends at Calibre Mining for bringing this conversation to life. Great conversations happening, great people in this room. Some new people just came through, some students seeing what this whole sector was all about. And there's some fellas with a little bit more experience. And on that note, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
My name is Vic French. I'm a geologist. I'm a registered professional geoscientist with the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm a graduate of Memorial University, also of Acadia. I've been fortunate enough to be able to practice my profession now for almost 65 years. First entered into the field in 1961. Got my feet wet in the early days of the university. One of my claims to fame, which I utter to a lot of people and they look at me, I'm not sure in disbelief or what have you, but I attended the old parade campus, Memorial University, before our present university was established. I spent my first couple of summers getting introduced to the exploration and mining industry in the world of geology, being a student with the Geological Survey of Canada. I worked on along the south coast of the island, right from Port aux Basques to Grey River. Had some great experiences, and after not making the grade at the university for a couple of 3 years, I decided to go into the mining industry, and at the tender young age of 21, I got hired on as a junior geo with the Advocate asbestos mine in Bay Verte, the open pit mine. Spent 11 years there, 11 great years, and that made up my mind to stay in the industry, and which I did. I returned to university in 1979 to finish off a Bachelor of Science degree, and graduated in '82. I came out with my degree. 11 years of mining experience, several years of mapping rocks in Newfoundland and Labrador. Figured I had the world by the tail, and the world of mining and mineral exploration was at my doorstep, but that did not work. So having been in a single income family and having two teenage boys, I was in a sort of a dilemma. So I said, hey, I must see what other options I have, and Acadia University in Wolfville. We're looking to start a master's program in earth sciences or in geology, and I believe at that time was the smallest university in Canada granting an MSc program. So I applied, and coming from Memorial University, which had a good name in earth sciences, they felt they were sort of blessed in having a student coming out of Memorial interested in going to study at Acadia, which I did. Spent 2 years there, almost broke a record in getting my master's, because I was then at 40, running out of cash, wife getting anxious as to when I might get back into an income mode. So I came out in 1985 with an MSc underneath my belt. Still could not get a job. So then I hung up my shingle from the small community of Clark's Beach in Conception Bay, and got in at in the exploration industry at a very good time. You know, the industry is very cyclical, as you're probably aware. We were at a sort of at the top of the cycle, so to say. Lots happening in the mineral exploration in Canada and in Newfoundland in particular. And at that time, the government at the time, the federal government, brought in a program of flow-through shears for investment into the junior mining industry in Canada. The bottom line was that if you invested some of your hard-earned dollars into the industry or into junior mining companies, you would get a tax benefit. So that attracted a lot of investment, spurred the industry even further. So I have managed to hang up my shingle at that time, and I'm a great believer in faith and just being at the right place at the right time, of course. And so I had a very successful 4 or 5 years of running a consulting and service company to the industry in the province. Had the privilege of doing services for some major companies such as Noranda and Falconbridge and a host of junior companies. And in 1989, I with several others started a company we call Newfoundland Gold Bar Resources Inc., and we went and got listed on the the Toronto Stock Exchange, Junior Exchange. Did that for a number of years. Then that kind of a tough sector of the economy to be in, even in the early times, being a junior company. You always have the chance, of course, of raising money. That's the only source of income for juniors. So after Voices Bay hit, and with the advent of Voices Bay and renewal of exploration interests in Newfoundland, and in Labrador in particular, of course, and Voices Bay, as a matter of interest, initiated the largest staking rush ever experienced in Canada. There were over 250,000 mining claims staked, pretty well from Cape Chidley in the north to Quebec border, down to the south in the Lac Formant and the Little Drunken River area. So I consulted for a number of companies, juniors such as Gallery Resources out of Vancouver, and major company like BHP Billiton, one of the largest mining companies in the world. And that of course faded eventually with the Voices Bay going into production, and the exploration interests in Labrador largely waned or diminished because of the the lack of discovery in other areas. So in 2010 I decided to with a couple of other associates to start a junior exploration mining company, and right now that's been the focus of my career. So I've had a lot of variety is the spice of life. I've had lots of spice, and I've had a very understanding wife. She's been with me 58 years. She started running it a little bit of patience and saying, hey, at your age, maybe you should consider doing something else. So I said, well, the only other thing I can think of is being at home and doing nothing. So anyway, in a nutshell, that's my quick story. In answer to your short question, a long rendition.
Well, listen, you got a long history there
Like a long history?
that you had to cover. That's fantastic. I mean, you've seen this show grow year over year. You see the excitement around the industry right now in central Newfoundland, but you've also, as you say, understand the cyclical nature of this.
Yep.
So talk to me about what you're sensing right now in the moment.
For Newfoundland and the island? Well, if somebody had said to me, I'll answer you this way, and to our viewers or any of if somebody had said to many in the industry 10 years ago or 15 years ago, look, in 2025 we'd be looking at a potential resource of gold or gold resource in central Newfoundland of around 10 million ounces that could potentially be developed. You would find that hardly a credible story. You say, well, I can't really see that. It sounds like pie in the sky, or open at the end of the rainbow with a pot of gold that is always elusive. But no, I mean, we have the Matador mining down in Cape Ray. It's got a fairly substantial resource down there. We have Valentine Lake, now owned by Calibre Mining, here on our poster, and they have a resource that probably is in the order of 5 million ounces. And then you have the newfound gold discovery at Glenwood. So you don't have to really stretch one's imagination to visualize him. So that has to impart or leave you with a sense of optimism and of what the potential and what will develop here in the island over the next few years. And the government objective that they advertised several years back is to have 5 new mines by 2030. And I think, that based on what we see here with Matador, with Calibre in Valentine Lake, and here, that's a realistic objective. That's just central Newfoundland.
Just central Newfoundland. Staying on that feeling of optimism, how does it make you feel when you see all those young people coming through here today and looking at this industry?
Well, it's very important. It's very encouraging. And the reason why I say that, because I feel, and I'm probably partly biased in my opinion, or being very passionate about the industry, I've had to stay in it for my lifetime, and knowing that, by many people, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, they look at mining as being sort of a dirty word, so to say, especially with respect to the environment. Well, we're all conscious of, and we're all keenly alerted to the need to protect our climate, to protect the earth as we know it. But a lot of the what we have experienced in the mining industry, I feel, in the exploration industry, has been a hangover from the years back in probably the first half of the 19th century, where there were a lot of, the safety standards weren't there. There were a lot of ill practices, strip mining, like in the U.S. and what have you. That's regulated today, not really tolerated. We've had a hangover. So to see the young people is a very, it's an essential. Mm-hmm. We need to make, the young people need to understand the importance of developing our resources. That resource development is a very integral part of our society, of the new world, as we understand it, and what they have to be confronted with is the challenges that we are faced with in supporting an increasing population. I think the population of the globe now is about 2.5 to 3 times what it was when I was in high school. Wow. Or early years university. So it's very encouraging, and it tells me that our message is probably getting out, into the young people, which are very important. This is where we have to build on. A lot of us in the mining industry now, I am a prime example. We're in our, the twilight years of our life, and we need, it's like any other natural process on this planet. We need rejuvenation. We need new life. Yeah. And we need new seeds to keep, to give us the opportunity to avail of what this earth has to offer, and particularly Newfoundland. It was very important for us to realize that Newfoundland, Canada is a wealth, as a resource, a wealth in resources, not only in mining but in agriculture, in forestry, and a very important part is a very major driver of our socio-economic needs in this country. And to see the young people now coming in here has to give us room for optimism and encouragement that the message is getting out, and that really we need mining, and we can mine. And as I say to many people, I say to you, mining now compared to even when I got involved, which is 65 years ago, it seems like a long time, but it is sort of modern history, even though it was in the last century. But we're operating they tell me that one of the cleanest places on earth to have your lunch, one of the safest places, is in a smelter, because it's so heavily regulated and controlled. It's almost an antiseptic or pristine environment, whereas 75 years ago it wasn't. It was probably, but we need that. So the young people, yes, got to have it. Very important part.
An absolute pleasure to be in conversation with you. I really enjoyed your perspective. 6.5 decades in this industry. I tell you, that speaks to opportunity for young people that are looking to see if there's a future. A real pleasure, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that, and all the best.